He's going to take a look right now, and let's see. I do see land. I do see spells. More land than spells for sure, but that's certainly going to be a hand that you keep after deciding what to put back. There we go. He started off, and let's see who's won the roll here. I'm guessing Jacob did because he kept first. Started with the Wooded Foothills, a great one to open when you get to keep all of the cards. I know also he has a plateau in his deck. You can't. It looks like though he wanted the green mana. I don't even know if he has anything that costs red to cast.
I didn't notice anything when I was looking over his deck. All right, so he starts off with Llanowar Elves, ramping immediately.
Yeah, speaking of Dominaria, right? That's the start we saw in Standard that everybody was hoping for. Now we'll see what he's ramping into, or just the classic turn 2 attack for 1 with your elf. Not what you hope for, but a second elf means he's going to
Elvish Mystic.
Yeah, Elvish Mystic. In Cube, of course, everything is singleton, so you find the same effect in cards, and you can always add that to his cube. I think I just saw him draw Stoneforge Mystic, and I believe he has a Batter Skull in his deck. But no, looks like he's going to. Is that the Ooze Maker? Is that what?
Yeah, it makes oozes and puts counters on oozes.
Right. Dark Confidant. Oh, there goes. Flipped over Sorin.
Right, so that's one of the cards I was talking about that can conceivably dig him out of the card disadvantage that he suffered from mulliganing so much, right? It gets him an extra card every turn at the cost of a little bit of life.
Yeah, well, in Limited, too, it can be a lot of life. I mean, I've seen Dark Confidant flip over some pretty big converted mana cost cards in constructed ending games, but in Limited, your curve is different, so you're definitely playing a little bit more with fire in Limited.
That's true. That's true.
Although, in this case, I think it is exactly what Noah needs, because he really needs to both recover from some of that card disadvantage. We'll see what he has. Looks like a Hero's Downfall takes down the Ooze, so there is an Ooze remaining, but he's definitely stemmed the bleeding a little bit. Still on 15 life. Although I do see a Stirring Wildwoods back in Jacob's land pile. And here comes down Primeval.
Prime time already.
Yeah, that is fast. I believe that's turn 4.
Yep.
Right? Treetop Village comes out. I'm both excited to find what he gets, just for seeing what cards he now owns.
Right.
It's like,
what are your new acquisitions, Jacob Bow?
Right. When we were looking at the decks, I walked by someone with Underground Sea in their main deck, so that was a very fortunate pickup for them. It both is an Underground Sea, and it's going to fix their mana, help them qualify for the top 8. So he comes in for, it looks like, 4 more damage. Dark Confidant is really eating away at him.
Yeah.
And the Primeval Titan, I don't know if he has a sweeper in his deck, but he could really use something to wipe away the board right now. Even then, though, the Treetop Village and the Stirring Wildwoods represent a big post-sweeper threat.
Even a sweeper is not going to save Noah at this point, I'd say.
Yeah, it's looking like we're going to see a quick game 1 going to Jacob. Not too surprising after a mulligan to 5. Let's see what he has. Let's see what he has in store.
Ophiomancer. So this makes a 1/1 black snake token with death touch, as the people on Twitter are very fond of reminding me. But that's not enough. Noah sweeps up the deck, and it's time for game 2.
Yeah, he actually lost a few of those cards to the floor, so he's now picking up some of his cards. It was a decisive game 1 for Jacob.
Yeah.
The mulligan, followed by the elves. I mean, mana ramp is just so powerful in every format. It feels like we were talking about his Scapeship victory in Standard, and it really feels like he's a master of the lands. He really is doing well. So as they shuffle up, they look at their sideboards. Now their sideboards are extra big because they drafted the entire Legacy Cube. So they have, it looks like, I would say about another 60 cards or so in their sideboard. I can definitely expect some amount of customization going on as they now realize what the matchup has to offer.
Right, and of course, we didn't really have time to review those sideboards in any detail because they're so big. So I couldn't even speculate as to what they're bringing in necessarily.
Yeah, I was actually wondering if what any of the players would build two versions of their deck, right?
Oh, sure. The transformational sideboard.
Yeah, I mean, especially in a matchup like this where you have green-white versus black-white, it's often going to be a longer, slower game, and so what does that mean for putting getting a little greedy, putting more card advantage cards in your deck? That could certainly be a viable strategy. So they're gonna keep flipping through. And you can see there, Noah looks like he's pulled out maybe 5-6 cards that he's considering. Yeah, the sideboards are just gigantic. There's so much going on with the sideboarding, and also too, it's fun to see as they flip through. I'm surprised actually that Jacob cut both Mirari's Wake and I saw Cloud Goat Ranger in his sideboard. That's for a deck that's playing green-white. I would expect those to be in there for sure. I mean, especially with Drainage Tournament, that's Mirari's Wake. I was playing a Commander. We did a World Builders charity event where we were playing Commander, and I had the green-white cat deck.
Right.
I put out Mirari's Wake, and I felt invincible. Right, just doubling your mana, giving all of your, in that case, all of my cats +1/+1.
Yeah, I mean, Mirari's Wake does ramp you, but Jacob doesn't have very many cards way up at the high end. It's basically just Primeval Titan and Craterhoof Behemoth up at the top end there, so maybe he just didn't think he had enough high end to justify Mirari's Wake. But
yeah, absolutely. It just feels... It is often in Magic, the cards that feel so good when they're in play can be win more, so I can see him deciding exactly that if he's getting out of Mirari's Wake, he's already done some good ramp. Why not just ramp into Primeval Titan like we saw in Game 1?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't impact the board unless you already have a significant number of creatures on the board, so I can see not running it in limited in some circumstances.
Yeah. Have there been any cards that we've seen so far that you were the designer of or worked on?
No, I don't think I saw anything that I worked on. Most of the cards were from a little bit before my time, except for that Ooze. But I didn't work on any of the Ravnica sets that came out recently. I just kind of skipped right over from the core set over to Throne of Eldraine.
What about the Return to Ravnica block? Did you work on any of those?
I did work on that. My first design team was on the Gatecrash design team. I designed the Evolve mechanic and quite a lot of cards, a lot of Dimir cards also. So,
yeah, I saw him play Stirring Wildwoods. That cycle of lands. I was the lead designer for the set of World Wake, and those lands have really come out and I've been super happy with them. Right, I was always inspired by Treetop Village, and it was a really great experience getting to make a 2-color Treetop Village cycle. Celestial Colonnade definitely turned out to be the powerhouse of the bunch. Yeah. But Stirring Wildwoods, definitely we've seen it played in many green-white decks. And of course, when you're playing a format like Commander, where the mana fixing is valuable and the games are going to go longer, lands like that often still are making appearances.
Yeah, I did notice there were a lot of Modern Horizons cards added in the latest update to this cube, so that was certainly a set that I led the design of, and happy to see a lot of Modern Horizons cards making it into the Legacy cube. All right, so it looks like they are done shuffling for round 2, but they're still mulliganing. Jacob has opted to go down to 6.
Yeah, and so I assume this means that Noah is kept as he's on the play this game for sure. Yeah, I saw Jacob. I think has a Hex Drinker, right? That's It's one of the new Modern Horizons cards that have been added to the cube, and
right. It's the only Modern Horizons card with the level up mechanic, but it's a very strong one.
Have there been? I wonder if there have been any cards outside of Rise of the Eldrazi with level up.
I don't think so. I don't think we've made any new level up cards.
Right. That is the one.
Aside from Hex Drinker.
Okay, so Jacob has quickly put a card on the bottom, and it looks like Windbrisk Heights.
Okay, so he's going to hide away. He's going to look at the top 4. His hideaway land comes into play tapped. He's going to exile one of these. And then what's the condition for Windbrisk Heights where you get the card?
I think it's you need the right number of attacking creatures. I think is it at least 3 attacking creatures? I believe is what gets it. Also pretty fun. Often I like to put a big combat trick or combat finisher underneath, right? So that was a pretty popular play in Standard, to be coming across and all of a sudden getting your big finisher. Okay, so he's made his decision. I saw Brimaz as one of his choices. I'm not sure if that's what he chose, but so they're Stirring Wildwoods again. Not exactly the elf roaring start that he had last game, but it's good to at least have his mana colors fixed, as does Noah. Here we go. Turn to
all right,
Voice of Resurgence.
Voice of Resurgence. So when this dies, he's going to get a big elemental token.
Well, hopefully a big elemental token.
If everything is going as planned, it'll be a big elemental token.
Right. The other ability of Voice of Resurgence not likely to kick in, although it could make a difference.
We've got a reader here. What is this card?
Okay, so Voice of Resurgence is I do see Natural Order in Jacob's hand. That would be pretty impressive. And it looks like he's also played Incubation Druid. I think the Natural Order could turn into Primeval Titan easily. It could turn into... Ideally, you'd be waiting for Craterhoof Behemoth. Oh. It looks like, is that a Spear of Heliod? Is that the right name?
Yeah, he does have Spear of Heliod there.
Which that gives his attackers first strike. Okay, so is he going to pop... I'm guessing he's casting... Oh, the Ooze is back.
Ooze is back.
Right. Well, and the perfect thing, too, is I think with that Natural Order in hand, he is threatening an awful lot of damage already. Noah doesn't realize it, but I think Noah's under a lot of pressure, right? If you Natural Order up Craterhoof Behemoth, turning perhaps that Incubation Druid into the Behemoth, we are talking a ton of damage. Oh, Shriekmaw. Shriekmaw's going to come out. It looks like it was evoked. So once again, the Ooze dies very quickly. Noah does not let that Ooze hang around.
Packrat.
Packrat. Yes, we were talking about that. I thought for a moment that might be his Brain Maggot, which that would have been...
Yeah, that would have been nice.
That would have been nice. Yeah. Really, the Packrat here is... I feel like it might be a little bit on the late side.
All right, so here's a mana elf.
Yeah, an elf. And...
Master of the Wild Hunt. All right, so everybody's going to be making tokens now.
There'll be no shortage of tokens. It looks like Noah's stalled out at 3 mana. So he's going to have to make this choice of, does he just invest in Packrat, growing the Packrat every turn? I don't feel like that'll be sufficient, though. I feel like he needs a little bit more than the Packrat.
Well, sure, but I mean, if you're on 3 mana, then what else are you gonna do?
That's true, right? Like that Elspeth that's in his hand, he can't cast it because he needs another mana. So it may just be his best choice, but
Oh, I think he has another couple of lands.
oh
down
yeah,
at
actually
the bottom.
he does have the Windburst
he's
Kites
on,
also.
He's on 4 mana.
He's on 4 mana, yeah, and then the Windburst Kites is covering his choice. So he does actually go with the Elspeth.
Right. Elspeth Knight Errant, is that the one we're looking at?
Yeah, that is as they find a die for Elspeth's loyalty, and I'm guessing we're going to see another. Oh, he's Jacob's looking through his stack to find
the appropriate soldier token.
The appropriate soldier token. Yeah, very, very important. It looks like those are all hand custom illustrated. There we go.
All right.
That's the soldier. Catwoman.
Cat soldier.
Yeah, cat soldier, as it were. Not that Elspeth actually makes cat soldiers.
There we go.
Oh, now it's.
I don't know what I'm looking at now, but we're gonna call it a soldier.
Yeah, it is a soldier. Not like any soldier we've seen before, though. That's for certain. Much like it looks like that's a Sarah Ooze token on the other side of the battlefield. And here, that actually kind of looks like a wolf.
Yeah,
It's
There's
look
a moon in the background.
Was that overgrown? Not overgrown tomb. Verdant Catacombs.
Right.
Another fine pickup in the Legacy Cube keeps you draft. Once again, I wonder if he has any black mana in his deck. Oh, and that's Walking Ballista. So he's for one, and yeah, here's the natural order. And with Noah tapped out, that Crater Hoof Behemoth is going to look like lethal damage.
That is going to be a lot of damage here.
Yeah. So it looks like Jacob will be moving on to the semifinals as Noah looks over.
Powerful victory. He used every card in his hand.
Right.
And just got all his creatures on the board and tutored for that Crater Hoof Behemoth and thundered in for victory.
Thundered in for victory indeed. Jacob continues on, one step closer to the Mythic Championship.
There's the handshake.
In Richmond. A pretty quick match actually for green-white on black-white.
Yeah. I thought that was gonna take a little longer, but they played very quickly and confidently.
Yeah, Jacob's deck really just was clicking away. He got the Mana Elves early, which is exactly what you want, ramping up into good token-making creatures. We saw a lot of, like, the Ooze, Voice of Resurgence, even though it never died. It just offered a lot of threats, so Jacob ends up taking game 2 and the match. He'll be advancing. We have full coverage today. The semifinals are going to be happening a little later on, I believe, starting on the half hour, and then the finals about an hour after that. It was a good match. What do you think that Jacob has what it takes to go all the way?
It looks like a very powerful deck. It has all the ingredients that you want. It doesn't have a lot of ways to interact with the opponent's plan, but it is very focused in its strategy. So I think he definitely could get there.
Yeah, especially I think the thing that Jacob's going to want to look to avoid is mass removal, right? A big sweeper. Does he have enough to recover from a Wrath of God or a Damnation?
It looks like we've cut over to one of the other matches here. Is that what's happening here? Yeah,
it looks like what's happening. We're just jumping in. I see a Sylvan Caryatid. Those sleeves are popular. We've seen them now. Yeah. They're all over.
Bomat Courier on the board and some sort of token.
Yeah, and it looks like he's hit once. Looks like there's one card under the Courier. I see a Dismember in the graveyard, but I can't tell exactly what Dismember took out.
No, that looks like Bitter Blossom. Oh, I'm sorry. What am I seeing? Bitter Blossom is over on the bottom of the screen.
Oh, yeah, okay, right off the edge.
So those are these tokens are Bitter Blossom fairies.
Oh, that's...
Okay, so we have Jason Healy on green-white versus Andrew Lyons, also playing black-white. No, that's wrong.
It looks like...
they haven't updated the thing at the top yet.
Right. He's definitely playing red-black versus green-black. Yeah. That much
we can ascertain from the lands.
It looks like a Kolagon's Command. Returning...
Oh, here comes Ilharg the Raise Boar.
Yeah, right. return
He's
to
in hand.
In hand. I think he only has 3 mana though, so he's going to need.
It's going to be a little while before
but here is.
Oh my goodness, Shieldred. Well, Shieldred isn't that good against the Bitter Blossom.
Yeah, that's true. It's true, but it's still.
It's something.
It's something. Right? It is something.
It certainly slows down Bomad Courier too.
Absolutely. The courier is. He's like, who am I delivering this mail to? I've got to head in the other direction. It looks like the judge maybe is. Was that talking about summoning sickness of the fairies, or I'm not sure what the. We definitely saw the judge's hand pop in for a second there. One of the other Phyrexians we saw. Do you want to talk about Crick?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's another pretty exciting card.
Another powerful mono black Phyrexian. Everyone seems to be very excited about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what are we looking at here?
Is that courier just? He's just going in for extra damage. And he gets the Midnight Rider trigger. I think.
Midnight Rider. That's what we're looking at. Excellent.
Yeah, so he was just trading in the courier. I guess with a handful of cards, he wasn't looking to exchange it anytime soon.
Okay, so there's Marin of Clan Neltoth. So this card is going to, I believe it mildew and reanimates cards.
Yeah, it seems like when we tuned in, I thought that the Bitter Blossom would be getting sufficient card advantage and fairy advantage, but in just mere moments.
Yeah, Shieldred keeps the fairy menace under control by making Andrew sacrifice a creature every turn.
Yeah, it looks like
nothing's going to stay in Jason's graveyard either between Shieldred and Marin, and that's it. That's too much card advantage, and Andrew Lyons extends the hand to Jason Healy. They are now 1-1.
Once again, going into those sideboards, there's a lot of options, right? You have 60 cards to fan through. I'm excited. Hopefully they hold out their hands just far enough that we can see some of the other amazing cards that you get in the cube. Looks like a Mind Shatter there, Experimental Frenzy. He's
a lot of burn spells.
Yeah, I saw one of the other players. I think his strategy was draft all of the cards for his collection while building a mono red burn deck at the same time, right? So I looked at his collection of his burn deck, and it looked like a pretty solid burn deck that you could build and do well with. But at the same time, I felt like he was picking up a lot of exciting cards with the connection. So Andrew doing a pile shuffle, a fine way to move your deck around once, but please shuffle your deck after that. I see Jason Healy flipping past the Necrotol. If that wasn't his main deck, he almost certainly sideboarded it out, playing against another black mage. It
can't destroy black creatures, so it does not do much good.
Well, I see a Grave Titan there. He's stopping a Grave Titan. I could see that. Jason seems to have a pretty nice top end once again.
Yeah. No, it looks like it might be a sweet reanimator deck. Just given what little we saw of it, it looked like it played heavily. Oh yeah, see here's Satyr Wayfinder. Like this whole graveyard thing looks like it's well accounted for. Thrashing Brontodon.
Do we see a target? I guess maybe for the Bitter Blossom you're thinking? I don't know if there's other good targets for the Brontodon. I mean, it does have a reasonable sized body on top of that.
Yeah, I mean the fail case of Thrashing Brontodon is not bad, right? It's a 3/4 for 3, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty nice sized creature. It definitely puts Trained Armadon to shame.
Yeah.
Trained Armadon did not make the Legacy Cube this time around.
Huh.
He's waiting in the wings, perhaps. Back when we were drafting Tempest, I was thrilled if I got a Trained Armadon. That was
Sure, but
right. Creatures sure have gotten better since then.
that is for certain.
We were talking earlier this weekend about some of your early Magic card designs. You wanna regale us with any fun tales of some early cards you made?
Well, the first card that was printed that I helped design was called Yule Ooze, which
The holiday
was
card?
one of the holiday cards. I came up with the spectacular innovation of the activation cost of Eat Some Food.
That does sound like an activation cost I could get behind.
Yeah. It seems I've known a lot of Magic players who are very willing to pay that kind of cost.
I remember for me back when I was a kid, Nate Heist, my cousin, and I would play board games, and like when we play Risk, anytime you killed one of your opponent's pieces, you had to eat a Cheez-It. So
Nice.
maybe 10-year-old Mike and Nate would be all about the Yule Ooze.
Yeah, it's a fun and hardly explored at all game mechanical space.
Yeah, I really do enjoy our holiday cards that we come up with. They're really fun light cards. So I mean, silver border cards in general, just they're fun to read. They're fun to look at. They can be fun to play. Have you worked on any silver bordered sets?
No, I haven't been on the design team for any silver bordered sets, but I have submitted some cards, and I think I got a card into Unstable. What the heck was? Crowstorm. Of course, a bunch of people submitted Crowstorm.
Oh yes, including all of our Reddit fans, social media community. See, that sometimes you just got to go with the slam dunks.
No, the first card that I designed that was really a hit and constructed, I think, was Night Veil Spectre. That was a Dimir hybrid flying creature that let you play cards off your opponent's deck, and that was a super fun card, I thought, and then made a big splash once Theros came out with the mono blue and mono black devotion decks. So it looks like we are checking to see if we want a mulligan here.
Yeah, I don't see too much early action in Jason's hand necessarily. I think that's why he's sort of contemplating. And even though he had a nice amount of land and spells, he decides to go down to 6.
He did look at the top just to confirm his choice and was vindicated with a 6-drop on top. Clearly, mulligan was the correct choice there.
Yeah, in Legacy Cube, you just can't be spending your first couple of turns sitting around.
No.
And we've seen these games fly by as it's just heavy hitters from the get-go.
Yeah, the format is just so powerful. In a regular limited format, you can afford to just land go for 2 or 3 turns, but not in this format. This is one of the most high-powered limited formats you'll ever encounter. Only outmatched, of course, by the Vintage Cube. So
the Vintage Cube, that means serious business. Definitely seen some fast kills.
You want to talk about some explosive first turns.
Yeah, right. It's first turns, only turns. Jason's hand here, he does have Recurring Nightmare, but that Recurring Nightmare is going to the bottom. I think it was hard to tell if he had access to black mana in his opening hand.
All right, so Andrew is leading with...
Blackcleave Cliffs, I believe?
Yes, Blackcleave Cliffs.
And here we have
Arbor Elf.
Arbor Elf, another variation of 1-mana elf.
Another Mike Turian special.
That's right. What?
Or was that a reprint?
No. That
was original in Worldwake.
That's you can see there with the watermark the expansion symbol.
Right. This is the Masters 25 printing with the watermarks showing what set they were originally printed in. All right, Dragon Skull Summit and Sword of Black and Greenness.
How long do you think have we finished the cycle of swords? I don't believe we have.
No. We
Right.
just started making ally color swords in Modern Horizons.
Right, we had
Sword of Sinew of Steel and Sword of Truth and Justice. So we have Thrun, the last troll here. Very resilient threat that's going to regenerate, and it has hexproof, and it's a 4/4.
Right. Unfortunately, it is green. So if Andrew ever finds a creature, he can both put the sword on it and then put lightning greaves in that order. Very important.
Yep.
But he may not have a creature, and Thrun can come in there. And do you feel like Jason's committed to playing no more trolls this game, as he's now played the last troll?
Yeah, it says the last troll right on it.
It
no
does.
more trolls. No more Golgari Grave Troll or whatever he has cooked up. Sorry.
Yeah, right. Whatever. Oh,
That would be
it
a
looks
flavor fail.
That would be a flavor fail. Does he have? Is this Garrick that's coming down?
Yep.
Yeah, Garrick's coming down.
It's like Garrick Relentless.
Oh, there you go.
And he's making a wolf token.
Making a wolf token. Very clearly, that has been deemed the wolf token.
Yes.
I think we saw that. Okay, so let's see if Andrew has a creature here. He really
needs to start interacting here.
There we go.
Hard.
Oh,
There
my
we go.
goodness.
And he grieves it up for haste so he can attack immediately and get that attack trigger.
So is he attacking Garrick here, or is he attacking the player? It's where he's positioned it feels like Garrick is about to die.
All right, so Garrick gets in front of Ilharg. It looks like nothing comes down from Ilharg's trigger. But we do have the Rage Boar on the scene now.
Yeah, so now he can't put the sword on it because he opted to go with Lightning Greaves, and Lightning Greaves prevents...
Right, it grants Shroud and haste. Shroud prevents the creature from being targeted by anything, no matter who controls that thing. All right. Jason is trying to decide what to do about this situation he finds himself in. He can conceivably block Ilharg, assuming the sword doesn't get attached, with Thrun and regenerate Thrun.
Yeah, it is a big risk, though, because any creature, then you can move the Greaves, move the sword, and all of a sudden Thrun can't even block. Jason taking a moment to consider his options. This is the first time I feel like we've really been in that pause and contemplate stage. We've been watching Magic here now, and it's been back and forth, rapid fire, but this is a very big turn for Jason, especially in Game 3.
Right, it seems likely that Andrew doesn't have any other creatures in his hand, otherwise he probably would have put them on the battlefield with Ilharg, unless they were something small. But
right, but the top of his library...
That's true. You don't know. Nobody knows.
Yeah. He's decided to just pass the turn, all 6 mana available to him.
All right.
Thrun with regeneration. This is one of those moments where, as Andrew, you start thinking, what are all the cards in the cube? What could he possibly have? Right? It's like he's been thinking, he has, a few cards in his hand. It's like, and then he just says go. That can be intimidating.
Yeah.
Oh, here, but apparently not intimidating enough. No fear. It's coming over. Okay, we see a double block here. Is it just... Oh, here we go. That's just putting up the regeneration shield.
Plan?
Is the plan just trade for
a wolf token?
Trade for a wolf token. Do you think he has a reanimation spell? Is that what...
I hope so.
Trading there for just a single wolf token feels... Oh, yeah, there.
Yeah, here we go. It's Necromancy.
Necromancy.
Brings back Ilharg.
Now, if he puts on the... If he puts on the sword, does Necromancy fall off? This is a... I know Necromancy's been errated a number of times.
Okay, I'll check the wording on that.
What's that? Right. Well, so it looks like the judge is now stepping in because I believe that Necromancy is going to fall off.
Yes, when Necromancy leaves the battlefield, that creature's controller sacrifices it. So That is a non-bow there.
That was a big mistake by Andrew, basically losing his creature for a wolf and then losing necromancy for nothing.
Yep. That was a
big mistake.
Big mistake on Andrew's part.
Well, and it can be challenging too, because especially with the older cards, necromancy just on it says enchantment, right? And so realizing that actually it's an enchant creature, you need to have that oracle level knowledge of the card.
Yeah, the oracle text for necromancy is paragraphs long.
Yeah, we often have joked about reprinting like Animate Dead as an all text card.
Right. We've done full art cards. Now we can do full text cards. If we wanted to reprint something like necromancy, we would have to.
I wonder if Andrew has another reanimation spell, or the thing is,
I hope it's not Animate Dead.
Falls for the same trick twice. And the thing is, right here, if he does have, it looks like he didn't have anything, unfortunately, but if he did have something, he would have been right back in the game. The sword could have hopped on.
It's
Lightning
true.
Greaves. Even though he is definitely down, he's not out of it quite yet. Although it is certainly looking grim as.
All right, here comes the Dismember.
The Dismember.
That doesn't work against Hexproof, though.
Right, doesn't work against Hexproof. He is now. It's a little unclear. Dismember is trying to target 3 or 4 things. Okay, he finally does. Finally gets killed. But Volrath's Stronghold means that,
Right, that creature can go back on top of Jason's deck.
Yeah, Jason has
on his upkeep if he wants it back.
Right. If you're not exiling Jason's creatures, then he has basically an unlimited stream of creatures. Okay, so Legion Warboss?
Legion Warboss, yeah. So that has Mentor and makes Goblin tokens.
Okay, and so here's the sword.
The Pro Green is finally online.
Right, and Haste and Shroud. But the question is can he afford to go in?
Oh, I don't think so.
He does have...
He only has 7 life left.
He only has 7 life left. I believe he gets... Does he get a goblin at the beginning of his combat?
Yeah, that's true.
Right,
Legion Warboss. Oh, yeah, but it's a haste token that must attack. So the goblin has to get in. I think he wants to hold the Legion Warboss back to block Thrun. Right, so that goblin got in and dealt the damage to Jason. Jason's down to 19.
Jason's looking for an attack. The nice thing here is with regeneration, even though it does have Pro Green, he can still get in for damage or trade off the Wayfinder for 4 damage.
Right, so Satyr Wayfinder is going to get in for 1. Andrew opts to block Thrun. Jason regenerates. And Andrew Lyons is down to 6.
Yep, so he's definitely feeling the pressure.
He is, but if he can get one more creature of any significant size on the battlefield, here comes something big.
Wormcoil Engine.
Wormcoil Engine.
A great answer to...
That's a 6/6 Death Touch lifelink that when it dies, you get a 3/3 lifelink worm token and a 3/3 Death Touch worm token. This, of course, is great in a Reanimator deck. You can just keep bringing it back and generating value each time it dies. Very resilient threat.
Yeah, and now Jason only has 1 card in his hand, so the Sword of Feast and Famine, it's not really as big of a threat. Although untapping the lands, if it connects, wouldn't make a difference. But you can't even get through now that the Wormcoil Engine's there.
He has to attack. The Goblin has to attack, so Jason could just gain 6 life off of the Wormcoil Engine's lifelink.
Killing the Goblin, yeah, not exact. The War Boss's drawback there definitely being felt.
Yeah, it is significant.
He has a ton of mana and that worm coil engine. It looks like Thrun in the engine and probably even the Wayfinder. Although the Wayfinder would only trade off for a Goblin likely, but oh no, just the two.
Yeah, I
so
mean, Jason can't afford to block the Wayfinder even if he did attack with it, I would say.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it seems like he gave up a point of damage there, but no matter, he's still in a pretty dominating position, going all the way up to 31.
Position.
Andrew really needs to have a spell in the end step. He just didn't even get to use his mana at all that turn. So really the mistake with the sword has cost him.
That cost him dearly.
Right. Instead of having a 5/5 that was attacking, he tried to get that 7/7 and yep, here comes.
All right, so Satyr Wayfinder's going to trade with that Goblin.
Yeah. What is this? 6? Is it convoke spell?
Oh, yeah, he's convoking. Court of Calling.
Yeah. Feels like he's just piling on.
Yeah.
He's like, oh. But it's definitely the right play. Oh, there's that recurring nightmare that he had London Mulligan to the bottom. So it's interesting, even though he's doing this here instead of waiting to the end step, he does get to do it for +1.
Right, he gets an extra virtual mana out of his Satyr Wayfinder this way. Oh my goodness, what is this? Oh, this is the Hermit, right?
Oh, the new
Hermit from Modern Horizons. So he's going to come in with 4 squirrel tokens, and
with the Wormclaw engine there, even if Andrew did have a sweeper that killed everything, there'd still be 2 3/3s left, which would be enough. Yeah, I think Andrew thought it was about to be his turn, but unfortunately, as he went to go draw a card, Jason corrected him and was like, "No, I did this on your turn.
Right.
During your turn, I went."
I know it looked like a lot happened, but that was all during your end step.
Yeah, I feel like this is a commanding lead. Only darkness could save Andrew for a turn here.
Is darkness in the game?
No, I don't think we put that in. He's just piling on. Jason gets a handshake. He also advances to the semifinals.
So many powerful Magic cards on display here.
Yeah, it really makes me happy seeing Worm Coil Engine and Grave Titan, Court of Calling, all of these cards that I've loved playing. We've loved making. They just bring a lot of joy when you really see a deck humming like that and just powering out so many incredible creatures.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I love me a Worm Coil Engine. That card is good enough in any format you want to play it in. From Standard when it was in Standard all the way to Vintage and Commander, and it's a sweet card.
Yeah, I was super happy to add that to Scars of Mirrodin. For me, I have a special place in my heart for cards that split, right? Like oozes, or it's like, and then they carry the abilities along, right? Even like the symbiotic creatures, like symbiotic beast, symbiotic elf. Something about them just makes it so happy. Like, oh, you killed my creature, now I get a refund.
Yeah, it's very aesthetically pleasing. Reminds me of the old video game Asteroids. Remember the Asteroids ooze?
Yes.
The 4/4 that split into 2 2/2s that split into 2 1/1s.
Exactly, right? I mean, that's so fun. And of course, it unlocks one of the things that's great about Magic, where it's like, sure, in Limited, your opponent's going to be the one to kill it and unlock the next level down. But often in Constructed, like we saw Recurring Nightmare in his deck, right? You find these other ways to take advantage of it, where you're the one cracking your creature open and gaining.
So we're moving over to our next quarterfinal match here. David Kaler versus Eric Johnson. David's playing mono red. Eric is on blue-white. And I believe we are tied here, if the screen is accurate.
Yeah, I saw a ton of mountains in David's opening hand. Now, one of the things I really respect about David already is the fact that he's chosen the mountain sleeve for his mono red deck, right?
Absolutely.
We've seen a little bit of tomfoolery in the, I have plain sleeve on my red black deck, but here a true mono red mage represents
loud and proud.
Yeah, right. You don't, especially not islands. Like if you put island sleeves on your mono red deck, it's like
that's no true red player.
Right. It's like really you're going to water down your deck in this way? That is it just I can feel my my skin tingling a little bit just even suggesting such heresy.
Yeah.
All right. It looks like here Eric is mulliganing as well. Yeah, it looks like both players are mulliganing. So we'll see 6 cards on 6 cards. Now typically I would think that this would favor the blue-white player.
Yeah, I would think so. As far as the blue-white-gold cards in the cube go, I know that both Teferis, both of the sort of constructed playable blue-white Teferis are in the cube. What else is in blue-white here?
There's tons of there's tons of planeswalkers, like you were talking about Teferi. I think that when I saw Eric's deck building it, I believe he has land tax.
Okay.
So that would be, not necessarily the matchup he would most love to have land tax in, but maybe even sideboard it out.
Yeah, it still could be a tremendous source of card advantage combined with Jace the Mind Sculptor or something, right?
So it looks like David has gone from too many mountains to, I believe I only saw 1 mountain, or maybe he has a second red source in there, or he may just be keeping on 1 lander.
Yeah, if his deck is aggressive enough, he may be.
Or he could have.
I maybe saw Fire Drinker Satyr. That's a good 1-drop.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with mono red, it is all about, and it's always been about turning your cards into damage, right?
Absolutely.
Your opponent starts on 20, and
yeah, I see a lot of 1-mana cards. I see 4 1-drops in that opening hand.
Right. So actually, even though he has 4 1-drops, getting that second land is still so crucial. So you can go 1-drop, 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 and really be firing on all cylinders from the get-go. So we'll see if he draws a second mountain. He's decided to start with is it Falconwrath Vampire? Is that what the
Gorger?
Gorger, thank you. It is a vampire.
Yes.
I believe it's the one that grows.
Right. So that's a 2/1 with some minor upside.
Maybe it's like must attack if able. Yeah, with the Legacy Cube,
each vampire card you own that isn't on the battlefield has madness.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So that's almost certainly going to be an irrelevant upside. The main point, of course, is that this is a 1-drop 2/1 creature, so he can start piling on the damage immediately. He does have
a mana
second land.
But it was Mutavault. Yeah, so here Mutavault actually holds him back in the early game. It could be a good threat later. Well, Eric started with Celestial Colonnade, so already facing down 4 damage a turn. We'll see if he's sideboarded in one of the many walls or 1/3s that blue and white have to offer to slow it down. Instead, it's Phyrexian Revoker. Do you think he names the Satyr here? There's not.
Yeah, I mean he doesn't unless he knows something about his opponent's deck that we don't know.
Well, as we don't have audio of what they're picking.
Yeah, I would assume he's just choosing Fire Drinker Satyr to keep him from pumping Fire Drinker Satyr's power.
Right. Although I fully expect if the Revoker's still on the board by the time the Satyr attacks, they're gonna trade off. Although I could easily see David he had an Incinerate in his hand. I could see him using that, clearing the way to just get through some more guaranteed damage. Or is that a Burst Lightning I see? Right. Yeah, it looks like he's deciding to use the Burst Lightning instead of spending the extra mana, but now he's coming in for 4. This is, besides the fact that David doesn't have 2 red mana to put out a little bit more, one more threat.
Yeah, I think it's a totally reasonable start for mono red. He's
right, especially with the Incinerate in his hand. He can likely kill Eric's next play as well. Although
I think I saw Porcelain Legionnaire in his hand also, which he can cast off 2 mana.
Right. So
here's the Ponder.
Yeah, really, for Eric's sake, he really could have used a powerful 3-drop here. Instead, he's just going with a little selection. It could help him get in the long game if he gets there.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways that we help players filter cards. Do you have a particular favorite in terms of scrying or impulsing, or is there one you're preferential to with your designs?
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, I guess I like looting, where you draw a card and discard a card, just because it has so many potential interaction points where it triggers anything that triggers when you draw a card. And speaking of which, here's Jace Vryn's Prodigy, one of the best looters ever printed.
Yeah, it looks like that one was at a pre-release, Jace. I see
I see a pre-release stamp there.
Pre-release stamp on it. We can tell exactly when that Jace came into existence.
Yeah. So yeah, the looting allows you to fill up your graveyard with flashback cards or things like that. So that's always fun for me, just creating more ways to interact with different Magic cards that do different things.
Yeah, it's also nice. Oh, so now he's just attacking, not using his burn spells, just attacking.
Right, Jace doesn't have any power, so he can't trade with either of these creatures.
Yeah. But if he's going to just kill Jace after combat, he could have. Yep. See, I guess he gave him the option of, hey, your Jace is about to die, but in which way does he choose to die?
Sure.
Yeah, that's nice. It's very honorable. I feel. So Eric now has his 4th land, but triple blue. I'm not sure if he has Cryptic Command. Always a popular cube card. Otherwise, it could be preventing him from casting some double white spells. Now, if you just tuned in with us, all these cards that you're seeing, these players drafted, they get to keep. They've done a Legacy Cube draft, and they're playing for a slot at the Mythic Championship. They're playing for the winner of the event gets a box of Legends, not Italian Legends, English Legends.
English Legends.
Yeah, very, very rare.
The original Legends.
The original Legends. Although Italian Legends was so exciting to me when it came out that I, much like you, I didn't have the chance to get original English Legends. So when Italian Legends came out, we talked to a retailer in Italy and bought ourselves a box.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
that was. Yeah.
I was not tuned in enough into what was going on in Magic to be aware of that at the time. I was very much, a filthy casual during those days.
Well, it was especially exciting for us too because since the cards were all in Italian and my friend and I didn't speak any Italian, there were many cards where we just made up what the card did. Right, like looking at Glyph of Destruction, and you see +10, +0.
Here is the Cryptic Command. You definitely called that, Mike.
Yeah, when I saw 3 islands, and not that second white source, to me that was a sign. He uses it, taps down the creatures. I think he drew a card with the second choice. So definitely a great way to keep his life total because he's only at 10 life. He's not feeling too healthy.
All right, here's Tundra.
Yeah, there's a Tundra. That's a nice. Once again, they get to keep all of these cards.
Yeah.
So, when the blue-white mage gets a Tundra.
That's my favorite dual land right there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
I always loved Tundra.
Are blue-white? Are those your favorite colors, or just Tundra specifically?
I just like Tundra. It's got a very nice illustration, and I have a Legacy Stoneblade deck that I'm terrible at piloting, but I bring it to events every once in a while.
Okay, that sounds like a fun deck to play. Yeah, I was talking about. We saw a signed Savannah earlier today. One of the other players, I think Noah, perhaps got a signed Savannah. That made me personally quite jealous.
Right, because your daughter's name is Savannah? Is
yeah, her middle name. Yeah, her middle name is Savannah,
right.
Named after the Magic card.
Is this a morph?
It is a morph creature.
Oh, wow.
What could Morphe be? What do you think it is? We have no idea.
Morphe?
Yeah, who is it? That's pretty intimidating.
Yeah.
Will you be paying some life and flipping it up? Will it be... this is where you once again want to go look at that cube list and
I know.
see...
I'm like, what's in here? I can't remember. Is it Willbender? It's always Willbender.
Yeah, it feels like it. Vesuvian Shapeshifter, perhaps. Okay, the red creatures attack, no fear.
It might just be Grey Ogre. Yep, it's Grey Ogre.
It's Grey Ogre. It's going to deal 2 damage. It was.
Oh,
I can't.
Okay, Stratus Dancer.
Stratus Dancer, yeah. So no real way to take advantage of the Satyr. I believe he does get a couple damage in.
Right, so if the timing had been otherwise, he could have flipped it up to counter an instant or sorcery, I believe. But that wasn't how it played out. It looks like we have Zergo Bellstriker here. Another 1 mana, 2 power red creature.
Oh, he's mana leaking it.
The mana leaked.
Oh, he does have a mountain, and he follows it up with. Oh, there's the Legionnaire you were mentioning.
So 3/1 first strike artifact creature. David goes down to 18 to pay for that Phyrexian white mana. All right. Eric isn't missing his land drops. That's good if you're playing a control deck. But you do need to have some action here to keep the damage at bay. He's looking at 5 damage next turn, assuming no burn spells to the face. That puts him in lethal range of any number of burn spells. Searing Spear, Lightning Blast,
are you going to
Lightning
name
Bolt,
Chain Lightning? Are we going to name them all? Is that the gut shot?
Is Chain Lightning in the cube? I don't think I saw Chain Lightning.
I don't know if it is, but it certainly, if it was, he'd be in range of it.
It's true. A lot of them deal 3.
So Eric passes the turn with his mana untap. Now he does have the Celestial Colonnade for a potential blocker.
Yeah.
However, the Mutavault could add into the attack. Yeah, so here comes the Colonnade. But Char. We missed that one.
That is big enough to take out the Celestial Colonnade.
Yeah. So
deals 4 to the Colonnade and 2 to David himself.
Right.
Him down to 14. And Eric Johnson is down to 3 life.
Right. And
if he can't deal with Porcelain Legionnaire, and Falcon Wrath Gorger, he's dead because that Mutavault can get in as well. Okay, here we have, what is that?
Also, I think I saw Lightning Bolt in David's hand. So he has.
All right.
Right.
So
I think
it is looking well and truly over for Eric Johnson, I'm afraid. He put up a valiant defense, but just could not deal with the onslaught of small creatures from David Kaler.
Yeah, so this looks like the final attack step. Eric does have 2 mana untapped, but with the Mutavault, the Vampire, the Legionnaire,
it would have to be something really spectacular in his hand.
Yeah, and it looks like Mutavault is activating here. So also, if that really is Lightning Bolt,
All right, there's the handshake.
Mono Red advances. Showing he still had all these. He still had Chandra. He still had. That is a Chain Lightning. Okay, yeah, the Chain Lightning's there.
Yeah, who would leave Chain Lightning out of the Legacy Cube? What was I thinking?
Yeah, I didn't want to mention this. I'm Mike Turian. I'm here with Ethan Fleischer. We are watching the Legacy Cube. These players cube drafted this morning the Legacy Cube. They got to keep every card that you see and are playing for a slot at the Mythic Championship. It looks like David Collar has now advanced. It looks like, they've put their decks away, so that score on the screen is correct. David is now 1-2-1, advancing himself to the semifinals. So in the semifinals, what have we seen so far? Mono Red is going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Green White.
Yep.
And then
Green
Black Reanimator.
Yep. So here we're going to Scott Smith playing Grixis versus Sam Lau playing Jeskai.
Oh, there's so here's where the land tax I mentioned.
Here's Teferi and land tax versus Solemn Simulacrum, Sower of Temptation, Ashiok, and what is that black?
Una's Prowler. The 3/1 you can discard. How do you not know Una's Prowler off my cards? You don't remember?
It's upside down. I'm not used to seeing them upside down.
And it is a fairy, so they do all end up having a lot of similarities. It's a 3/1 flyer. Anybody can discard to give it a couple point power reduction until end of turn. So I'm guessing that the Sower has taken Solemn Simulacrum. I'm not entirely sure if that Sower is entranced. What is entranced?
Yeah.
Or perhaps does it have a relation with Ashiok? I'm not sure. I see a Snapcaster Mage exiled. I don't believe that's an attacking Snapcaster Mage.
No, probably not.
It looks like to be in the exile zone. So, right now he's resolving a gifts ungiven. So you were mentioning before making Yule Ooze. Did you also make gifts given, the other holiday card?
That was before I started working at Wizards. I worked on a few of the holiday cards, kind of in the middle there. I helped make my favorite holiday card to play with, at least, which is Stalking Tiger.
Oh, Stalking Tiger,
that
yes.
one, I love any card that lets me open a booster pack, because working at Wizards of the Coast, I get lots and lots of free booster packs just constantly, far faster than I could ever draft them. And so finding places to put cards in my cube that cause me to open more booster packs is a way to enjoy those booster packs.
Opening booster packs is a lot of fun, that's for sure. And it's good that even while you're cube drafting, you find ways to, bring some of that joy.
Yeah. So what do we have here? Dread Return.
Okay, Dread Return. It looks
Kiki
Jiki.
This is the split here.
Looks like Pestermite. So it looks like he's getting to keep Kiki Jiki and Dread Return.
Yep.
That's what it looks like now. He doesn't actually have the mana to cast Kiki Jiki. He's not even actually that close.
No, he just has one red source.
He may have. Let's see how many cards does he have in his hand. Does he need to discard, perhaps? Oh, I do see Exhume in his hand. It looks like there's some reanimation components to the Scott's Grixis deck as well. I can't. Can you tell what Teferi's on? It's hard to read that.
It looks
colored
like
die.
2 to me.
Oh, there's Ancient Tomb, so a nice boost to Sam's mana.
All right, let's see if he can cast 2 spells this turn.
Okay, he takes 2 damage. He is casting Gilded Lotus.
Mana for more mana.
I'm guessing he will be able to cast at least 2 spells this turn.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Okay, and here Gilded Lotus is going into draw 4, discard 2 or 3, depending if it's your main phase. That's the card I believe it is. Right, it's the instant from Time Spiral. I'm coming up a blank on his name though. In any case, he's currently considering what to discard. I believe he cast it as a sorcery, so
he gets the maximum effect from it.
He gets the maximum effect, yeah. It's pretty good. It's pretty powerful, right? You get to see 4 cards, you get that good card selection, and those cards go to your graveyard. Oh yes, I'm not sure exactly. Maybe Snapcaster's in its own pile up there. I'm not sure what's going on with Snapcaster, but all right. And does he have a third spell to finish it up, or is he just going to be?
Maybe the Snapcaster was taken by Sower of Temptation.
Yeah, perhaps.
Oh no, it's got to be Solemn, because Solemn Simulacrum is in a black sleeve, and Sam is playing with black sleeves.
Yeah, excellent use of context clues.
There we go.
All right. So it looks like he discarded Kiki Jiki to Una's Prowler using that any player discard ability, right? And that's really going to set up perhaps the Dread Return, bringing back Kiki Jiki. He can start copying the Solemn Simulacrum or the Sower, getting good card advantage off of either. Meanwhile, Sam has...
There are no targets for Sower of Temptation, though.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. You could leave Kiki untapped and threaten. It looks like Sam has really built his mana base up gigantic, so...
well, you have so many picks, right? Because they drafted the entire cube, so everyone has far more picks than they're going to need for their deck, so you can draft a lot of lands here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And here in this case, it's like he has tons of card drawing in his deck, and he can really power out a big threat. So here is the Dread Return.
Dread Return, as you anticipated.
I know we saw Pestermite in Scott's deck, so there's definitely some good combo potential that, given the right cards. Oh, I think he's shuffling around a Profane Command as well. So another way to reanimate. Just tons and tons of ways to reanimate in his deck. It looks like, is he flashing back the Dread Return to bring back?
Yes, he sacrificed Solemn Simulacrum and
the Sower.
Sower of Temptation.
Oh, and here comes the Swords to Plowshares. This would be devastating to Scott's plan.
Yeah.
Right? You really
have to interact with Kiki Jiki here before he does some kind of infinite combo.
Oh, exactly.
So, Swords is on the stack. All right, Kiki Jiki is put into exile. And Dread Return has yet to resolve.
Right, but I believe the Dread Return has already chosen targets.
Right.
So
it's bringing back Pestermite, but there is no Kiki Jiki there to untap anymore.
Right. And he did.
So sad. He'll untap a land instead.
And because he wanted to do this to make tons of Pestermites and attack for the win, I believe, that means he hasn't even gotten an attack in. He didn't even get to kill Teferi with that initial attack.
Right.
Although he does have 3 lands, so he maybe has some more juice.
Yeah, he went for the win instead of the long game there, and the gambit failed, I'd say, just due to the timely Swords to Plowshares from Sam Lau.
Hey, David. David. I need you to take over.
All right, so here comes Snapcaster Mage from exile from Ashiok. And snapping back, Serum. Hello.
Hello.
Joining me here is David McDarby.
Hello.
Taking Mike Turian's place.
For the time being, yes. So what we got here, Ethan?
All right, so we have a matchup between Scott Smith playing Grixis.
Great.
Versus Sam Lau playing Jeskai. Scott went for the Kiki Jiki Pestermite win using the flashback to Dread Return, but Sam Lau had the timely Swords to Plowshares to disrupt the combo.
I see.
Scott Smith is trying to figure out how to get this situation under control here.
All right, so Sam has a Teferi Time Raveler on 3, it looks like?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so he can attack it with his creature, but he passes the turn back.
Yeah, his creatures have summoning sickness. They both just came in this turn. Snapcaster Mage it's actually Sam's Snapcaster Mage cast off of Ashiok.
Yeah.
And then the Pestermite just came in from the Dread Return.
Awesome. So Sam looks like he has, what is that? A braid? I can't tell what that is. He cycles the Teferi, gets back his Snapcaster Mage. So now he's in business. So that Snapcaster looks like he can flash back a Swords to Plowshares right now.
Uh-huh.
All right,
Should keep the situation under control.
Seems that way. He also has the mana advantage with that Gilded Lotus and Ancient Tomb, it looks like.
Scott Smith has a pretty powerful Reanimator deck here, though, so there could be some kind of explosive turn of some kind doing practically anything.
Yeah. Scott has a really powerful hand there with Slaughter Pact, Narset, Transcendent Master, among other cards. He just has to survive to deploy all these sweet cards, and maybe he can take Sam down a notch.
Yeah, I mean, there's very little pressure on the board, so everyone has time, theoretically, to do what they came to do.
Sure, yeah, these both look like control decks, and Sam is a braid. He's abrading the Pestermite. Fairy down.
Oh, and here comes something big.
The Wandering Fumarole?
Wandering Fumarole in to take out the Ashiok.
He doesn't even have to flip the power and toughness.
That's true, only one loyalty left. But Slaughter Pact destroys the Wandering Fumarole.
So Slaughter Pact, the thing about the packs, you get some good value now, but you got to pay for it later.
It's true. If you don't pay the cost on your upkeep,
you'll pay the iron price.
You will lose the game.
You pay the mana price or the iron price.
Yeah.
So hopefully Scott doesn't forget this Slaughter Pact price. Let's see if he puts the card on top of this deck.
That is a good way to remind yourself not to go to your draw step.
That's true.
Put something on top of your library.
Usually it's a dice is to remind yourself. He hasn't forgotten in those 3 seconds.
Not yet.
He hasn't forgotten.
He's trying to decide what to tap
how
here.
To pay. He lives to cast spells.
Pays for the Slaughter Pact.
Yes. All right, he drew a Lava Coil, the Fireball creature land, Lava Claw Reaches. So he has some reanimating spells. What's in that yard there, Ethan?
Let's see. There's not much in there. I haven't seen his full yard. We came in the middle of this game.
All right.
But,
Ashiok flipped 3 creatures: Niv Mizzet, Perun, Trastodon, and Dragon Lord Atarka. And Mike Turing is back, so I'm tagging in.
Thanks, David.
All right. So while you were absent, the Sower of Temptation, or the Pestermite, ate an Abrade. Teferi is no longer with us, but so there's no pressure. But Ashiok has revealed some very powerful creatures off the top of Sam's deck here. So we could be seeing a Terracodon, Niv Mizzet Perun, or Dragon Lord Atarka, I believe. And then here comes Narset. Sam Lau not going to be drawing any additional cards as long as Narset is on the battlefield. Just the normal card for turn.
Yeah, and the land tax is also looks to be shut off as well. As
I haven't
as they
seen
each
the
have
land.
I think they each have 6 land out, is what it looks like.
Yes. Each have 6 lands. I don't think I've seen Sam draw anything off of land tax yet.
Yeah, although looking at his library, it wouldn't surprise me if he's already land taxed out many, if not all, of his basics. Yeah, Scott is actually pretty impressive of a recovery. I mean, that Dread Return play.
Oh, here comes Animate Dead. I don't know what is left in this graveyard after all of the Dread returning that happened, but let's see what we get here.
We've seen a lot of Reanimator in this cube. Definitely a popular strategy. With so many powerful Magic cards, being able to use them once and then use them a second time, it's really quite good.
Well, yeah, and just being able to avoid paying the mana cost for some of these extremely powerful high mana creatures that we've printed over the years is a huge advantage for some of the more efficient Reanimator spells like Animate Dead, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Scott, when I was talking to him during the deck building, he felt like his deck was a little bit janky, but I feel like it's really come together. I mean, especially in this matchup, which is a slower matchup, right? Giving him time to go and access so many of those powerful cards and then use the reanimation piece. It definitely seems like it favors him. And the Planeswalkers are a big threat. I mean, like you said, Ashiok has turned over some real threats.
Right, this cube has a very large number of Planeswalkers that these sorts of slower, more controlling decks can use to great advantage. Speaking of, here's Nahiri the Harbinger.
Yep. Scott turns over, checks out Nahiri's abilities. Sam keeps taking damage. She's taking 3 damage off of lands this turn. Between the Windswept Teeth... Oh, no, sorry. The Windswept Teeth was discarded to Nahiri. But the Ancient Tomb has dealt too.
Yeah, it is definitely chipping away at his own life total with that.
Tell us about what this Nahiri's options are.
All right, so she has starts with 4 loyalty. +2, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. -2, exile target enchantment, tapped artifact, or tapped creature. Or -8, search your library for an artifact or creature card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. It gains haste. Return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step.
Pretty strong suite of abilities. And we saw Nahiri use the +2 ability there. That's how that
it makes
Windswept
sense.
Teeth.
There's nothing to interact with on the board. There are no tapped creatures, tapped artifacts, or untapped enchantments. So, just using it for some card filtering.
And also powering it up to its ultimate pretty quickly.
That's true.
Right?
It doesn't take long to get to -8 if you're +2ing. So it is definitely a legitimate threat here, and could get anything. Could get Emrakul. That was the sort of top-down flavor that we were going for when we designed this card. Was she's the harbinger of Emrakul, and she brings Emrakul to Innistrad, and that's what that ability represents.
Oh wow! That's a good little inside peek. So Ashiok looks like he got sneak attack that time. Well, sneak attack, of course, just goes to exile. I feel like there's so many piles over there.
Yeah. I see Venser Shaper Savant on top of the creature stack.
Right, yeah, that's the one Ashiok could actually end up replaying, so. I feel like, I mean, it's hard to tell from the side, but I feel like Sam's library can't have more than 8 to 10 cards in it.
It does look like it's dwindling rapidly.
Right. I mean, you see his large exile zone, pretty full graveyard. But
right, Scott could just get there with Ashiok, just essentially milling out Sam's library.
Okay.
Doesn't even necessarily need to cast the cards that he's exiling.
Are we seeing Scott going to cast that Animate Dead he searched for last turn? Perhaps. Yep, there is the Animate Dead.
All right, what's in your graveyard?
Yeah. Oh. I'm not sure how come Teferi's moving to the top there. He can't Animate Dead at Teferi last time I checked.
Not that Teferi, anyway.
Yeah.
You can get the one from Time Spiral.
Is it Solemn Simulacrum's the choice?
All right,
okay.
So the invitational card, designed by Jens.
Yep.
Nicknamed Sad Robot, is here.
Do you think he's a sad robot because he's a 1/2 this time around?
Even sadder robot.
Even sadder robot. Yeah, so Scott not even worrying about the land tax anymore. I mean, at this point, Sam's library is so thin that if he even has any basics, it's just they're not worth pulling out. Those extra turns are more important than the card filtering.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sam has plenty of mana.
Oh, there! Look who it is.
Who is it?
Huh? No, did you see who was it? What was in Sam's hand?
No, I missed it.
I think it was Emrakul.
Oh, Emrakul's there, huh?
I think so.
All right.
It was definitely an Eldrazi. He only flashed his hand up for a second there, but.
Well, then I applaud Sam for the flavor win of the Nahiri the Harbinger Emrakul combination in his deck. Scott activating Narset again to find Perilous Research. Is that what that is?
Is it Compulsive Research?
Compulsive Research.
Another in the Thirst for Knowledge vein. I believe it's a sorcery, but it still has that draw a few, discard.
Discard something.
Yeah, I think it's discard 1. I think it's draw 3, discard 1. But as a sorcery. A lot of the others are
oh yeah, they draw 3, discard 2 unless you discard a land card for 2 and a blue sorcery. Okay, Swords to Plowshares is out, going to exile the Sad Robot. No card draw for you, Scott Smith.
Right.
Because
he does get a life though.
Yep.
Not that I think that life point's going to make a difference, but
probably not, but you know.
You never know.
We don't know exactly how this thing is going to end.
Yeah, it's kind of a game that's all over the place. So, and how much mana does Sam have here? Let's see. It's 4, 5. Looks like around 10 mana is what he's currently.
It looks like 11 to me.
11 mana, and he is doing the land tax. I think that might just be to look at his library. We'll see if he actually pulls out lands. It looks like a 6-card library. So not too many turns.
No,
left.
not a lot of time to seal
Yeah,
the deal
I think
here.
I do see a planes in there, so he could pull out. And he's also sort of counting to see how much total mana
Okay,
he's
so
going
that
to have
looks like
access to.
Kozilek.
Kozilek's in his
to me.
library.
Okay.
Right. But I'm pretty sure I saw another Eldrazi in his hand
Oh, all right.
when he flashed
The
it.
double Eldrazi deck.
Yeah.
Of course, if he can get one of those Eldrazi Titans into his graveyard somehow, he could reshuffle his graveyard into his library to get some extra turns that way.
Yeah, that would be huge.
He could do that with Nahiri's activated ability, right?
Well, I think something is causing all the cards to go to exile, right? Like I saw, like the Swords to Plowshares went to exile. Oh, was it because of Snapcaster Mage though? Was that the reason?
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be a way to really extend, right?
Yeah, so the small library is not as much of a concern as it appears on the surface. Sam can discard that Eldrazi to Nahiri's ability to buy himself extra turns if the game goes longer.
Although it would be sad with having so much mana to have to discard an Eldrazi.
Well,
It's better than losing. It's better than
Nahiri's
losing.
ultimate can just get him back from the library, right?
Oh, absolutely. Right. It's not like you're out forever.
Yeah.
You're just right. A temporary setback.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
but it looks like he is going for it. Here is
It's-
Kozilek. Or no, it's
Yeah,
That's
Kozilek.
Kozilek.
Yeah, it's Kozilek. So I don't know what's got. They're kind of sitting there waiting, but I believe it's a cast trigger.
there's a
on.
cast trigger to draw 4, I believe.
Yeah, which maybe that's why Sam was counting and recounting his library. Didn't want to just immediately deck himself.
That's true. You don't want to just kill yourself right away.
Right. And if I am correct that he has Emrakul in hand, then he can.
Right.
Right. There it
Okay.
goes. Oh, but you know what? He doesn't actually draw the cards because of Narset.
Oh, right.
Right.
So he's not going to draw those cards. He does
Right.
discard Emrakul to Nahiri to shuffle his graveyard into his library.
Right. And he does get I believe he gets a replacement card as well.
And it looks like Snapcaster comes in for 2.
Oh yeah, a nice little finishing touch.
That's
Like,
right.
oh, here's Kozilek, here's Emrakul. Oh, bam,
Take 2.
hit you with Snapcaster. Right. So now the one thing that this has done is Scott is now unlocked Exhume. We didn't see actually any really good targets for Exhume, but with Sam's graveyard going away, the Exhume in Scott's hand finally can just be cast without any drawback.
Right.
Typically, Exhume, even though it has the lets both players return, you're casting it at such an early point in the game that your opponent doesn't have any worthwhile creatures to return.
Scott is actually in a very dangerous situation here, though. He is threatened not only by Kozilek, but Nahiri is at the point where she can ultimate and bring Emrakul back. Scott is conceivably facing down a tremendous amount of Annihilator, right? Emrakul has Annihilator 6. Kozilek has Annihilator 4?
4, I think it's 4, yeah.
So that's 10 permanents.
Oh, there's,
okay, so
there's Frost Titan to lock
Frost
down.
Titan locks. Go ahead.
Yeah, Frost Titan locks down Kozilek, so that negates at least part of that. However, it doesn't deal with Nahiri, right? I
Right.
mean, I have to imagine that Sam was willing to trade in Nahiri for Emrakul.
Oh, sure, I would.
Right. And even though, like, it's funny to me because with Planeswalker, so often you're like, I want to ultimate and keep them alive. Here, I think just getting Emrakul probably will be sufficient. It's been a really back and forth game here.
It looks like Ashiok nabbed Emrakul out of Sam's library.
Oh, just off the plus ability just
Yeah.
happened to. Wow.
She was in the top few cards, and so that avenue is now closed to Sam.
And Nahiri can't grab from exile.
No,
That's the one zone that.
that we don't allow you to just take things
Yeah,
from,
we don't.
right?
Yeah, Mark Rosewater would come by and bonk us on the head if we
Oh,
tried
he's
to.
very strict about that one. He's like, no, we just can't do this. Don't do it.
That's a very good Mark Rosewater impression. So I'm Mike Turian. I'm here with Ethan Fleischer. We are watching the quarterfinals of the Legacy Cube. Players this morning drafted the Legacy Cube. They got to keep the cards. Normally in a cube draft, you have to give them back, but this morning they got to keep all these cards. So Scott Smith, that is now his Underground Sea.
Nice.
Definitely quite the catch there for Scott.
So we've got Mimic Vat down here, it looks like.
I believe it is Mimic Vat. I was just talking the other day about how much I enjoyed the design of Mimic Vat. The fact that
this is the one when a creature dies, you can put it in the Mimic Vat and then make token copies of it?
Yeah, and then when another creature dies, you could trade out which creature is in the vat. Such a flavorful card. I really enjoy the gameplay, right? Often with clone machines or cards that are just pumping out tokens, it ends up being repetitive, where here it ends up being more dynamic because whatever happens to be in the vat changes as the opportunity arises.
Very sweet, very sweet.
Now the vat does start empty, but I could see Snapcaster Mage and Mimic Vat. That would be quite a haul.
Nice.
Kozilek, just
Kozilek in the vat.
Yeah, in the
I'm
vat.
into it.
Even the Frost Titan to be doing a little lockdown.
Yeah, I assume the Grixis deck has plenty of ways to kill its opponent's creatures.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially a 1 toughness Snapcaster Mage. And you can even on that turn double up, right? Use a kill spell on the Snapcaster Mage. If it's applicable, use it on Kozilek as well once the Mage is in the vat. Okay, big draw step. Do you think he has a third Eldrazi in his deck?
I don't think so. I didn't see a third one.
I didn't see a third one either. I would be pretty surprised. That's quite the commitment. But
he's going for something.
He's going for something.
He can get a creature or an artifact.
Right.
Since Nahiri is a Stoneforge Mystic, the original Stoneforge Mystic, she can forge a weapon.
So is that Sower of Temptation? What? Oh, Mindslaver. My goodness.
That is pretty nice.
All right, what could go wrong
here? You
here?
can do a lot of damage.
Oh my goodness!
When your opponent has planeswalkers on the battlefield.
I can't. I am so excited right now.
Yeah, this could be crazy.
You know what I love doing with Mindslaver? I love getting it up and asking your opponent to move, right? Like getting up, walking over to the side of the table, just like taking possession.
I'm not going to just take your turn. I'm going to take your seat.
Yeah, I'm going to take possession of your chair so I can see, right? And it's so fun because you get to mess up everything that they've been working so hard to build.
So what do we have here? Is this Search for Azcanta?
That's what it looks like, Search for Azcanta, but really the big card here is Mindslaver. You know, especially, I mean, to me, this is one of the things that I'm glad that mana burn's removed from the game, right? That's kind of a passé way to use Mindslaver.
Well, the rules text on Mindslaver used to say that mana burn didn't apply during that turn. So the designers did take that into account. Here comes Profane Command.
Is that Baleful Strix?
Baleful Strix, yes.
Okay.
And
it's a big draw step. I can't see that last card in his hand. It looks like just green-black dual land. So Profane Command, there's some real options there. So now Frost Titan, does it prevent the extra 2 from you and your opponents? I believe it's just your opponents.
Just your opponents, I believe.
So killing Frost Titan isn't actually that hard. Yeah, and I believe that Narset is too low on loyalty to actually end up killing itself.
Yeah, I mean, it seems clear that you're gonna want to kill something, and you're gonna want to target yourself to make
life
make
loss.
Scott lose some life. Those are the two obvious modes to choose for Profane Command.
Right. Okay.
What is that bottom card?
Ashiok has decided to go away.
Pack it in.
Yeah, he's not interested in returning anything. Just has decided, you know what? Back to the nightmares.
Yep.
That's no problem there.
Narset is a -2, I believe, so she cannot.
Yeah, she cannot. Narset cannot kill herself.
Loyalty.
Yeah. Although, I mean, Scott's going to be opened up here to Kozilek. Like Kozilek was held back for a turn, but not for 2 turns.
Right.
Yeah, I could see. Let's see, how much mana does Scott have access to? Or in this case, Sam have access to, because Scott has been Mindslavered. It looks like 4, 7, 9 mana, and then with the land in hand. Oh, is that Massacre Worm? Is that what that last card is?
Yes, that is Massacre Worm. Yeah, I don't think you want a Massacre Worm in this situation.
No, yeah, definitely not.
There's not a whole lot of mana available for Profane Command. That would killing Frost Titan with Profane Command is going to use all but 1 mana, I believe. So.
Yeah, and you can use all the mana to get the extra -X.
Right.
Oh, and he's randomly put Una's Prowler back into play. Is that so he can discard his own cards? Is that why Una's?
Sure.
He chose the return ability. I guess
that was clever. That was clever. I didn't see that line.
Yeah, so we'll see what card he's looking to discard. So the search.
Well, he can. Did he make Scott discard his hand? I believe.
Yeah.
Right.
He did, yeah, he made Scott discard his hand. Right.
Nice.
By bringing back the Una's Prowler, so he did that instead of the life.
That's a great move.
Yeah, that was a really great line to see that Una's Prowler would just shrink away to nothing.
Yeah.
Shrink Scott's hand away to nothing, and that's one of the fun things about Mindslaver, right? When are you in that situation where you're like, you know what the best play here is? I'm going to one with nothing myself.
Yeah.
But you have to think about Magic in a whole different way when Mindslaver has been activated. And here comes Kozilek. Man, this game has just swung back and forth. I mean, Scott is at
this
a
is
huge
a clash of the Titans here.
Huge disadvantage now. I mean, look at all these permanents he's having to lose. He's just stacking them up, and he's facing down all of this damage. Sam, very wise, not bringing in Snapcaster Mage, doesn't want to trade off with the Prowler and then end up under the Mimic Vat, right? That Snapcaster Mage has actually kind of become a liability. Now, I'm surprised that Scott's not sacrificing the Mimic Vat. There's nothing under it, and he's about to just lose so many lands.
Yeah, it's not doing anything for him.
Right.
But looks like he's planning to sacrifice lands. He does have some plan for that Mimic Vat.
Yeah, Mimic Vat. Although the good thing is he can fire out a blocker again if he puts the Prowler under the Mimic Vat.
So he can generate a Una's Prowler every turn with Mimic Vat.
Yeah, not super exciting facing down Kozilek, but it is something. Right.
It buys him a turn, I guess.
That's quite a full graveyard that Scott has. So Sam has really taken a dominating position thanks to Mindslaver. Mindslaver just...
Yeah, that was definitely one of the more powerful Mindslaver turns I've seen in a while.
It looks like the judge's hand is coming in. Okay, Scott needs a big draw. Okay, so he did block with the Prowler, so he's still on 23. But an island, I mean that's basically it. I mean,
I don't see how he could recover from this most likely. But
Sam Lowe using Nahiri, fetching up Mindslaver, and then just destroying Scott's board, destroying everything that he had built up over the course of the game. Scott had so much reanimation, and it was just coming threat. And now he's left looking through his graveyard and wondering which of his 4 permanents he's going to sacrifice next.
Yeah.
I just don't see a way out of it, do you?
No, I don't think so, unless he has some way to remove that Kozilek. Unlike the other Eldrazi Titans, Kozilek doesn't have any real resiliency, so a removal spell would get there.
It's funny to me that this late in the game that Search for Azcanta hasn't now flipped.
Yeah.
Right? We're like, we've seen many turns of Magic.
Look at how big that exile pile is.
The exile pile, right? You would think that's his graveyard, but no. In fact, I mean, he's close to flipping Search for Azcanta, but the Search for Azcanta it's a long search.
Yeah.
I feel like Scott might just be hoping for more screen time. I mean, you see him shaking his head. I can't imagine what outs he has here. I think he's just, at least he gets to go home with an underground scene.
It's true. The fail case here is you just got a bunch of really sweet Magic cards. So
right. Oh,
that's
there's
always nice.
Teferi looks like with his draw phase, or is he considering it with the search for Escanta? I think he might be. Oh no, it was his draw phase. Okay, here comes Kozilek. Not even attacking with.
All right.
Not even attacking with Snapcaster Mage.
Oh, he's attacking Narset? No, he's sacking
no,
Narset
Narset's.
too. Is he going to activate this creeping tar pit, I wonder?
I suppose, but does he even have the red mana? Oh, I guess he's sacking the red mana he needs. So no, he's just. And really, I mean, you need to preserve that mana.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
I don't know what spell you
He
have.
has a nice pad on his life total. He can afford to take one hit from Kozilek.
Yeah.
Just knocks him down to 11.
Right.
And here comes
Teferi's back. Little. You know, it's surprisingly Sam's library is running quite low again. Even though we saw him shuffle his whole graveyard in.
Finally, he can draw extra cards.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
All right, what is it?
Well, he didn't slam it right on the table.
No.
He is casting it. It looks like he's getting ready to cast it, but.
What's it going to be? It's not. Whatever it is, it's not good enough. Oh, yeah.
It was hostage taker, but hostage taker need a little more mana for that one to come out. And there we have
That
Sam Lowe
wraps it up.
advancing to the semifinals. His Jeskai deck will be taking on either green-white, mono-red, or green-black in the semifinals as these players play to win a box of legends and a qualification for the Mythic Championship.
What
later
a
this
great
year.
game at the end there. That last one was just like this knockdown, drag-out fight between two powerful controlling decks.
Yeah,
just massive threat after massive threat.
yeah, it was haymaker after haymaker. At any given moment, who was winning just went back and forth.
Yeah, we didn't have an advantage bar on the screen this time, but if we had, it would have been going whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah, especially when that final Mindslaver was really where that was the nail in the coffin. The Mindslaver, it just, these decks are so powerful that you can just use them against themselves in such a devastating way, right? We saw Una's Prowler out early on just to help the reanimation, and then it really came back to bite him when Mindslaver meant he discarded his whole hand.
Yeah, Mindslaver turns so many cards that could be very useful into liabilities.
And kudos to his opponent for coming up with that line. I mean, I think from up here we were just thinking, oh, kill the Frost Titan, drain for 7, swing with Kozilek. Not quite enough damage to win, but in pretty good shape. But
no, he just clinched the victory there by making him discard his entire hand.
Yeah, stripping away the Massacre Worm, stripping away everything that he had. It was a great match. We'll be coming back to you with the semifinals momentarily. For Mike Turian, Ethan Fleischer, thanks for tuning in to Gen Con. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Thanks so much.
Hello, and welcome to the Gen Con Championships. I'm Melissa DeTora, here with David McDarby. We're all from Wizards of the Coast.
Hello.
And we have a very exciting match over here.
Oh, yes.
We're going to go to the match actually right now. So this is Legacy Cube Draft, where the players Rochester drafted the cards and got to keep all of the cards.
Wow. That's amazing.
So what are these players playing for, David?
They're playing not only